this week. I don't know why, but I can't get it to stream. And I think Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube all at the same time is quite enough. What do you think? I just took a DNA test. Turns out I'm 100%, says that witch. Anyhow, you like my Halloween shirt? Hello and good evening. Hi, friends. Say hello. Where are you joining me from? All that good stuff. I am going to finish chapter 1 tonight, and then I'm going to call it a day until Monday. So I'm going out of town this weekend, have grown-up plans, and not going to be available tomorrow night. So we started Shoeless Joe. If you're a baseball fan, you will love this book, Field of Dreams, movie based on the book, this W.P. Kinsella. And so far, we just know that the main character keeps hearing what sounds like an athletic announcer saying, if you build it, he will come, not they will come, he will come. And he, meaning Shoeless Joe Jackson. And the last thing that was said was it was getting cold, and he's got this just left field grass that he's perfecting, right? And he's traveled all over. He's trying to figure out, how do I get this field? I don't know if you've ever been into baseball fields, but it's a pretty pristine grass, and it's neat. It's, football fields are too, but it's a certain type of grass, and a live grass field is especially awesome if you're playing football or baseball, or not fake turf, but real turf. So he grew the turf, and this cold frost comes, and he found out if he just sprayed a mist that would work. And that's where we left off. So there's like this orgy of rainbows on the grass. The sun is coming up, and there's like a prism going on from this mist of water that he's got on left field, because that's what he's building, is left field. All right, so here we go. Chapter 1 continued. Annie and Karen were at breakfast when I came in, because he's been watering the grass. When I came in, the bacon and coffee smells and their laughter pulling me like a magnet. Did it work, love? Annie asked, and I knew she knew by the look on my face that it had. And Karen, clapping her hands and complaining of how cold my face was when she kissed me, loved every second of it. And how did he get a name like Shoeless Joe? I would ask my father, knowing the story full well, but wanting to hear it again. And no matter how many times I heard it, I would still picture a lithe ball player, his great bare feet, white baseball, sinking into the outfield grass as he sprinted for a line drive. Then, after the catch, his toes gripping the grass like claws, he would brace and throw to the infield. It wasn't the least bit romantic, my dad would say. He was still in the minor leagues when he bought a new pair of spikes and they hurt his feet. About sixth inning, he took them off and played the outfield in just his socks. The other players kidded him, called him Shoeless Joe, and the name stuck for all time. Hold on, let me put my chat on for Twitch, because hi, Twitch. I know, they're always there. So, yeah. And my Twitch people, y'all are kind of weird. Yeah, it's called, I'm not going to show my feet. Do you want me to show your feet for us? Like, that's Twitch for you. I do have cute feet, I'm not going to lie, but not for you, dude. What's your name? Lozenzo? Sorry, Lozenzo. Not. Shoeless Joe. He took his shoes off because his feet hurt. You ever put a pair of new cleats on? Anybody ever put a pair of new cleats on that aren't really broken in? So he took his shoes off. He's in the minor leagues. His feet hurt. It's about the sixth inning. That's how he got the name Shoeless Joe. All right. Name stuck. It was hard for me to imagine that a sore-footed young outfielder taking off his shoes one afternoon, not long after the turn of the century, could generate a legend. I came to Iowa to study. Thousands of faceless students who passed through the large universities, but I fell in love with the state, fell in love with the land, the people, the sky, the cornfields, and Annie. Couldn't find work in my field, took what I could get. For years, I bathed each morning, frosted my cheeks with aqua velva, donned a three-piece suit and a snap brim hat, and, feeling like Superman emerging from a telephone booth, set forth to save the world from a lack of life insurance. I loathed the job so much that I did it quickly, urgently, almost violently. It was Annie who got me to rent the farm. It was Annie who got me to buy it. I operated the way a child fits together his first puzzle, awkwardly, slowly, but when a piece slips into the proper slot with pride and relief and joy. That's kind of how I built my business, honestly, is, you just don't know what's next, but you just keep, let's see if it goes that way. Let's try that way. And then when it works, you're like, hey, pride and joy. Welcome, friends. All right, this book is a hope. That's why I chose it. I was going to read Gatsby and Crucible. I was going to do some of my typical 10th, 11th grade lit, but I was like, I need a break. Let's do some Shoeless Joe. Let's have some hope. And I do Julius Caesar, which, is that more fun now? And politics is topical. Anyhow, it will happen, honey, Annie would say when I stood shaking my head at my folly. People looked at me. I must have a nickname in town, but I could feel the magic burning like a gathering storm. I felt it as if animals were scurrying through my veins. I knew it was going to happen soon. One night I watched Annie looking out the window. She is sort of a butterfly, Annie is, with an evil grin and a tongue that travels at the speed of light. Ooh, don't you love that simile? Her tongue travels at the speed of light, like the speed of light. Her jeans are painted to her body, and her pointy little nipples poke at the front of the black t-shirt that has the single word raw emblazoned in waspish yellow capitals. Her red hair is short and curly. She has the green eyes of a cat. Annie understands, though. It's me she understands, and not always what is happening. She attends ball games with me and squeezes my arm when there's a hit, but her heart isn't in it, and she would just as soon be at home. She loses interest if the score isn't close, or the weather's not warm, or the pace isn't fast enough. That's so baseball. I grew up on football and the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins. And when I met my husband, he was a baseball guy. I was like, ooh. He's like, you don't like baseball? I'm like, no, it's boring. It takes forever for something to happen. And then he showed me Sports Center and ESPN and the highlight clips. And then I was like, oh, like when you compile all the great plays together, yeah, that's athletic. But standing there waiting for it to happen, it's not my thing. Sorry, guys. But I do love it now. I'm a much more bigger fan since then. To me, and I have baseball cards from my husband's collection. Really good rookie cards, just so you know. I don't know what he'd want me to do with them. I've thought about it a lot. To me, it's baseball, and that is all that matters. It's the game that's important, the tension, the strategy, the ballet of the fielders, and the angle of the bat. There's someone on your lawn, Anne says to me, staring out into the orange-tinted dusk. I can't see him clearly, but I can tell someone is there. She was quite right, at least about it being in my lawn, although it is not in the strictest sense of the word a lawn. It is a left field. I have been more restless than usual this night. I've sensed the magic drawing closer, hovering somewhere in the night like a zeppelin, silky and silent, floating like the moon until the time is right. Speaking of the moon, have you seen the moon tonight? It's like 97%, if like a face. I think tomorrow's 100. It's a big moon. Make a wish. Waxing moons are time to make wishes. Annie peeks through the drapes. There is a man out there. I can see his silhouette. He's wearing a baseball uniform, an old-fashioned one. It's Shoeless Joe Jackson, I say. My heart sounds like someone flicking a balloon with his index finger. Oh, she says. Annie stays very calm in emergencies. She band-aids bleeding fingers and toes and patches the plumbing with gum and good wishes. Staying calm makes her able to live with me. The French have the right words for Annie. She has a good heart. Is he the Jackson on TV? The one you yelled, "Drop it, Jackson" at? Annie's sense of baseball history is not highly developed. No, that's Reggie. This is Shoeless Joe Jackson. He hasn't played major baseball since 1920. Well, Ray, aren't you going to go out and chase him off your lawn or something? Yes, what am I going to do? I wish someone else stood. I wish someone else understood. Perhaps my daughter will. She has an evil grin and bewitching eyes and loves to climb into my lap and watch television baseball with me. There is a magic about her. And I got to say, every time I've read that paragraph, I think I've read this book several times. That's me and my dad. I was a baby when the Miami Dolphins were undefeated. I think it's 72. Am I right? 1972. And I was my dad's Monday Night Football baby. And I would just sit in his lap and cheer. I didn't know what I was cheering for, but he got excited, so I got excited. And I was just like, boom, became a cheerleader right there in that magical room watching the Miami Dolphins with my daddy. I feel upstairs and read for a while, Annie says. Why don't you Shoeless Joe in for coffee? Shoeless Jack in for coffee. I feel the greatest tenderness toward her then, something akin to the rush of love I felt the first time I held my daughter in my arms. Annie senses that magic is about to happen. She knows she's not a part of it. My impulse is to pull her to me as she walks by, the denim of her thighs making a tiny music, but I don't. She will be waiting for me. As I step into the veranda, I can hear the steady drone of the crowd, like bees humming on a white afternoon, and the voices of the vendors like crows cawing. A ground mist like wisps of gauze, snakes in slow circular motions just above the grass. The grass is as soft as child's breath, I say to the moonlight. On the porch wall, I find the switch, and the single battery of floodlights I have erected behind the left field fence sputters to life. I've tended it like I would my own baby. It has been powdered and lotioned and loved. It is ready. Moonlight butters the whole Iowa night. I love that sentence. I'm going to read it again. Moonlight butters the whole Iowa night. Clover and corn smells are thick as syrup. I experience a tingling like the tiniest of electric wires touching the back of my neck, sending warm sensations through me. Then, as the lights flare, a scar against the blue-black sky, I see Shoeless Joe Jackson standing in the left field. His feet spread wide, body bent forward from the waist, hands on hips, he waits. I hear the sharp crack of the bat. Shoeless Joe drifts effortlessly a few steps to his left, raises his right hand to signal for the ball, camps under it for a second or two, catches it at the same time, transferring it to throwing hand, and then fires it to the infield. I make my way to the left field, walking into the darkness far outside the third baseline, behind where the third base stands would be. I climb on the wobbly bleacher behind the fence. I can look right down on Shoeless Joe. He fields a single on one hop and pegs the ball to third. How does it play? I holler down. The ball bounces true, he replies. I know. And I'm smiling with pride, and my heart thumps mightily against my ribs. I've 1,000 line drives and as many grounders. It's true as a felt top table. That's the thing about baseball grass. I'm not reading right now. I'm talking. I know sometimes it's hard to tell. Like I said, the really good grass won't do funky things. Like first time I saw my late husband play baseball, it was a softball game. The ball hit and like bounced up and literally hit him in the mouth, made his lip bleed. I never saw him play college ball, high school ball. Apparently he was a badass. First time I see him play is bloody lip. But like he blamed it on many things, like he wasn't paying attention or whatever. But also he mentioned like it's softball field and it like doesn't bounce the way it's supposed to bounce. Anyway, I remember that moment particularly. The ball bounces true, he replies. Oh, I already read that. It is, says Shoeless Joe. It is true. I lean back and watch the game. From where I sit, the scene is as complete as in any of the Major League Baseball parks I have ever visited. The two teams, the stands, the fairs, the fans, the lights, the vendors, the scoreboard. The only difference is that I sit alone in the left field bleacher, and the only player who seems to have substance is Shoeless Joe Jackson. When Joe's team is at bat, the left fielder below me is transparent, as if he were made of vapor. He performs mechanically, but seems not to have facial features. We do not converse. A great amphitheater of grandstand looms dark against the sky. The park is surrounded by decks of floodlights, making it brighter than day. The crowd buzzes. The vendors hawk their wares. I cannot keep the promise I made not to ask Shoeless Joe Jackson about his suspension and what it means to him. While the pitcher warms up for the third inning, we talk. It must have been like, but I can't find the words. Like having part of me amputated, slick and smooth and painless? Joe looks up at me and his dark eyes seem about to burst with the pain of it. A friend of mine used to tell about the war, how him and a buddy was running across a field when a piece of shrapnel took his friend's head off, and how the friend ran headless for several strides before he fell. I'm told that old men wake in the night and scratch itchy legs that have been dust for 50 years. That was me. Years and years later, I'd wake up in the night with the smell of the ballpark in my nose and the cool of the grass on my feet, the thrill of the grass. How I wish my father could be there with me. He'd lasted just a few months longer. He could have watched our grainy black and white TV as Bill Mazeroski homered in the bottom of the ninth to beat the Yankees 10-9. We would have joined hands and danced around the kitchen like madmen. The Yankees lose so seldom you have to celebrate every single time, he used to say. Obviously, you're White Sox fans. We were always going to a Major League Baseball game, he and I, but the team was never right. The money always needed for something else. One of the last days of his life, late in the night while I sat with him because the pain let him sleep, the radio picked up a staticky station broadcasting a White Sox game. We hunched over the radio and cheered them on, but they lost. Dad told the story of the Black Sox scandal for the last time. Told of seeing two of those World Series games. Told of the way Shoeless Joe Jackson hit. Told the dimensions of the Kaminsky Park and how during the series the mobsters in striped suits sat in the box seats with their colorful women, watching the game and perhaps making plans to go out later and kill a rival. You must go, Dad said. I've been in all 16 Major League parks. I want you to do it too. The summers belong to somebody else now. Have for a long time. I nodded in agreement. Hell, you know what I mean, he said, shaking his head. I did indeed. So I don't know about you. Have you been to, I might stop there. That seems like it might be a wise, there's like a, it's a natural stop in the book. I think I'll stop there. Yeah, I'm going to stop there. So have you been to Major League Parks? Is that a goal on your bucket list? I think Cooperstown was a goal on Adrian's list. Is that where the Baseball Hall of Fame is? I feel like I said that right. So he went there several times actually. So yes, I have, have you been to all the Major League Parks? Oh, fun fact, the very last Yankees game that ever was at Yankee Stadium, Adrian was actually there with his mentor, both who are now in heaven, ironically, but they both went to that game. It was like a make-a-wish for his friend Pete, and they had dinner with the players, the Yankee players, and then they got to go to the game. And there were a lot of really important people at that meal that they had, but honestly, it was like Yogi, is that him? He had like a ton of like signed stuff. I feel like Yogi Berra was there. Am I wrong? Is that, someone tell me, help me. I feel like that was one of the guys. Like he's much older. I know, right? Anyways, I can't ask him. You'll have to tell me, would he have been alive at the last Yankees in the original stadium? I don't know. All right, so I'm going to stop there for tonight. Thank you for joining me. I see a few people were here tonight, so that makes me feel like wonderful. Someone's enjoying Shoeless Joe, and it's going to go fast because, yeah. I'll read more later next week. It's been a weird week. So happy Halloween. Have a good night. I hope you have sweet dreams. I hope you get a good night's sleep, and I'll see you next week.